and it will be a very long time before someone inspires us.
The Batman movies are known for being full of action and always keeping you on your feet, and with this it usually requires some amount of CGI, but what does it look like without the help of a computer? In today's video, we're going to discuss the behind the scenes of the CGI from Batman. Throughout the years, the use of CGI has become more and more common, and has been found to be quite helpful in some situations, especially in sci-fi and action movies. For example, movies that include superheroes are often forced to rely on CGI due to their characters and what they are expected to be able to do. However, unlike some superheroes, Batman doesn't use or have any special superpowers, making CGI not as necessary for the character. That said, an approach that is less reliant on CGI is sure to make for a great version of Bruce Wayne's world that director Matt Reeves is hoping to bring back in the movie The Batman, which is set to come out in 2022. Speaking of, last month in August, the trailer for the new movie, The Batman, was released, and according to Jeffrey Wright, who plays Gotham Police Commissioner Jim Gordon, it has no CGI. The trailer itself has been receiving quite the praise from viewers and critics for its brilliant style. That said, it has also upped the excitement for many, as great visuals are expected from the full film, which was put together by director Matt Reeves and cinematographer Greg Fraser. The Batman was one of the most anticipated films of next year before the trailer dropped, and since, fans have only grown more eager in its wake. The movie features a star-studded cast, of which includes the very anticipated Robert Pattinson, who will play Bruce Wayne when he was younger and in the second year of his crime-fighting push. Joining Pattinson is Paul Dano as the Riddler, Colin Farrell as the Penguin, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth, and Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. In an interview discussing the movie's style, cast member Wright made the statement that the entire trailer has no CGI and is all completely shot footage, stating, "I think if you look at that trailer, if I'm not mistaken, there's not one CGI image in the entire thing," he said. "That's all photographed. That's all stuff that Greg Fraser was lighting and Matt was directing." Along with the upcoming movie, Fraser has been the cinematographer for other films such as Rogue One, Zero Dark, and Dune. As a matter of fact, he was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Cinematography for Lion back in 2017. Although the entire trailer is CGI free, when speaking in an interview, Reeves, the director, said the version of Gotham in the movie was augmented a bit by CGI in order to add a more modern look and feel. Nevertheless though, he claimed that it was necessary in order to really make Gotham feel more realistic to an American city. Wright went on to explain this as well, stating, "The thing that distinguishes the Batman series from any other is that he lives in a city that is like New York or Chicago. It's an American metropolis. We have an opportunity to use all the opportunities of that genre to explore things in an American city through the lens of crime and corruption that are really grounded, relevant, and interesting." Among the Batman, Christopher Nolan's version of Batman embraced the use of realism and chose to do many of the Dark Knight's biggest stunts as opposed to relying on CGI. Of those includes one of the biggest and most visually astonishing stunts in the film, when Batman uses steel cables to flip the Joker's 18-wheeler trailer over a cab in the middle of Gotham Street. While many other directors may have chosen to recreate the moment with CGI, Nolan instead wanted to do it for real and on a real street in Chicago. Not only was this famous scene shot with barely any CGI help, but there was in fact a real man, Jim Wilkie, driving the truck when they shot the renowned scene. Though this idea was made up by Nolan, it was ultimately up to the special effects supervisor Chris Corbold to figure out how to safely launch a truck down LaSalle Street in downtown Chicago. Though he was a bit skeptical with the task at hand, Corbold assigned 2 members of his special effects team to come up with a way to flip a truck at a test site. The team eventually came up with the solution, being that the truck would be rig-built with a big steel piston that could blast out the back. Then, using some TNT at the base, the piston would be triggered with a small explosion, causing the back end of the truck to be blasted up and over the cab. Not only that, but they also used a more reinforced steel to line the cab of the truck so that there could be an actual driver in the vehicle that could trigger the piston at speed. In an interview, Paul Jennings, the stunt coordinator, explained how the process of testing the truck went. "We did it twice, once in a big area, a runway, because we had to check that when it got blown over that it stayed straight, because obviously if it gets halfway up and falls to the side, we were going to be in the middle of the Chicago banking district. It would have gone through a bank's window, so we had to flip it once in rehearsal to check the pressure on the ram. Amazingly, the truck flipped straight forward when they did it on the first test. In addition, Jim Wilkie, the man who was driving the truck, also perfectly executed the stunt and did it without injury, so they came to the conclusion that the giant piston would safely be used to flip the giant truck down the street of the movie. Almost as amazing as flipping the truck perfectly was how wonderfully the crew was able to get all the shots of the stunt. The movie had multiple sequences that were shot in the larger 60mm IMAX format, which in short meant that there were some very expensive cameras that were being used in the streets of Chicago where they could easily get squashed by a bus. Nolan estimates that they shot from 5 to 6 different angles from the truck stunt using numerous cameras, 4 being IMAX. Though a costly decision, deciding to use expensive equipment such as an IMAX camera and a VisaVision 35mm for the shots, the end result of all these amazing angles and cameras was really seen. It resulted in quite the grand moment in the movie as the semi-trailer ascends over 50 feet in the air, then comes crashing down. However, it turns out that flipping a giant truck wasn't the only dangerous moment for filming the movie. Apparently, the Joker's iconic pencil trick could have potentially cost one star his life. According to actor Charles Jarman, who performed stunts for The Dark Knight and portrayed the pencil trick thug in the film, the scene was filmed without CGI and was rather done with some precarious deception. I think even Chris assumed that we were going to have to do some CG, said visual effects supervisor Nick Davis. It's not particularly difficult to build a CG pencil, to track it in and kind of make it disappear out, but we shot it in IMAX, so you see it on a giant, great big canvas. Whenever possible, we tried not to do unnecessary visual effects shots because digitally, you can never really recreate an IMAX image. During a scene early in the movie, the Joker barges in on a meeting between Gotham City's top mobsters, which is interesting considering he had just stolen a bunch of money from them during an armed robbery. As the Joker joins the group at the table, seemingly unwanted, he offers to show the gangsters a magic trick of making a pencil disappear. However, when one of the mobster's henchmen goes to take care of the unwelcomed guest, the Joker slams the henchman's head onto a pencil he had placed, making it disappear. Eventually, in an interview, the cast and crew revealed how they pulled off the disappearing trick. Apparently, the stuntman who played the unfortunate henchman, Charles Jarman, had actually snatched the pencil away as Ledger slammed his head down on the table. I remember Christopher Nolan saying to me, "Look, we're going to do a couple of shots where you need to be able to take that pencil away," said Jarman. "We did a couple of half-speed rehearsals just to get the hand action of my right hand sweeping across, taking the pencil as my body was going down, and my head striking the blank surface. It was a little hairy because the pencil stuck to the table. If for some reason I didn't get my hand in time, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Well, possibly through a Ouija board." However, things got more complicated due to Ledger, who left the room in between takes and appeared in character at all times. So Jarman didn't even really get to practice the stunt with Ledger, and to make matters even worse, the scene was done at full speed, and Ledger actually had to slam Jarman's head onto the table. As a matter of fact, while filming the shot, which took 22 takes, Jarman got knocked out 3 times. "You think less of yourself and more about the shot," said Jarman. "You suck it up and you go again." As I've gotten older, I've realized I wouldn't be doing it the same way now. Well, that's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.